Now it's time to create a second flow that actually captures the pending items. Before I start working with the workflow, I want to make a little change. I want to manually come here and change the status of one of the items. So when I test the workflow, I just make sure that it only picks up the pending items, and the items that they are not pending, they are skipped. So let me pick up the last item, click on Edit, and I just change the status from pending to submitted and save it. All good. It's time to go back to Power Automate. I go to Power Automate console and I click on Create. This flow is going to run on schedule. You guessed it, I click on Scheduled Flow. The flow name is going to be Create Weekly Purchase List. Run this flow starting next Friday. So I pick Friday at probably 7 a.m. And the reason that I pick 7 a.m., I want the person who checks his email early in the morning see this item on the top of the list, repeat every week, and I want it to run only on Friday. So everything else is taken out. So this is my trigger configuration. It's starting on this date, which is next Friday, at 7 a.m., repeats every week on Friday. Clear? Looks good, so I click on Create. I expand on the recurrence. Runs on Friday every week. I don't need to touch anything. If you want to edit it, just click on Edit, and it gives you the chance to make an update, but I'm not going to change anything. This is just perfect. Now I need to get the items that status is pending. So I add the next step and I search for SharePoint. And I look for Get Items. Not Get Item, Get Items, because I don't have the ID yet. The site address is going to be the same address. It's going to be Power Automate Workshop. List name is going to be Weekly Purchase. I don't need any limitation, but the only thing that I need to add is Filter Query, because I only want to pick the item that the status is pending. So I search for status equals pending. The only question is that, are you sure the name of this field, the internal name of this field is status? So if that's the case, if you remember the trick, I click on Add Action right before that. I just temporarily add it just to check the field name, and then I delete it. So I call it Create Item inside SharePoint. So I pick up the same list. So Power Automate Workshop, list name is going to be Weekly Purchase, and ABC, it doesn't matter, status is pending. So again, I click on the drop down and I click on the peak code and see where the pending is assigned. So pending is status. So we got the right name for it. Good. So I don't need this create item anymore. Delete. This one will go away. The only thing is that I need to change the name of this get items to get pending orders. We got it. So everything that we want is going to be here. Once we get it, we need to put them in an email. Again, I need to create a variable because I just want to send one email for all products. And I say initialize variable, and this one is going to be email body. Type is going to be string, and let me rename the control initialize email body. And the initial value is going to be, this is the purchase list for tailor shop, and anything else should be added to the next line, br/. Remember, our email is going to be HTML text. Great. Save. And right after that, I need to get every single item that this guy returns. So let's say apply to each. And I need to get the values from the get pending orders. Click on here, get pending orders. I get the value. So every single list item is processed in this apply to each. I may also rename it to process pending order items. And then I need to add every single item to the email body, which is this variable. So add an action, variables, and I go to append to string variable. I rename it and I call it add order item. The variable that we want to add it to is going to be the email body, and the value inside it is going to be the item, which is the title from here, and maybe the amount in front of it is going to be the amount that I have here. Let me search for amount. It's going to be easier. Every single iteration is going to add one item, and of course I need to take it to the new line. And finally, after everything is done, I need to add a new step and send this email. Send email, send an email v2. And again, we have an email that I really don't want to hard code it here, but this time again, I can add the configuration here, but this is a very small one, so I just add a variable here. Variables, initialize variable, and I rename it to initialize logistics email, mark, copy, and let's paste it here. The type is going to be string. It's just one single email, and the email address is going to be this email address. I just want to put it in a variable, so later on, if this email is updated, we may want to put a different name. That's fine. So now, to click on add dynamic content, and I ask for logistics email that goes here. Subject is going to be weekly order for tailor shop, and the body gets it straight from this variable, which is email body. Save. You think we are done? No. After every item is processed and added to this list, we need to go to the list and update all those items to become submitted. So in the same loop, I add another action, and I can search for SharePoint. I search for update item and rename it to set item to submitted. Again, I pick up the site address, which is going to be Power Automate Workshop. List name, I pick up the list, which is going to be weekly purchase. The ID is coming from the get pending orders. The title is going to remain whatever that was, but I have to provide it, and I get it from the get pending orders. It doesn't work without it. Now the new status is going to be submitted. And now, after it adds every item to the mail list, it changes the status to submitted. Probably we can do it a lot better, because in this one, if somewhere it fails, some of the orders are marked as submitted, but they are not really submitted. So it's much wiser to add a second loop here right after the email or when everything is processed, and then process the items there. Now, here's the question. Is it a good idea to add this one inside the same loop, or we need to make another loop? Is it possible that somewhere in the middle of reading item, this item fails and it just updates some of the items and marks them as submitted while they are not really submitted because the email processing didn't go through? Well, there is a chance, and that chance can only happen if the send email fails. Reading the items is not going to fail because the items are already captured here. And anything that is happening is just happening inside being assigned to a variable. So I would say, yes, probably that's a very minor concern, but I can live with that. I can save it. And let's test. So if I click on test now, it is scheduled, but I say I perform the trigger action myself. So I click on test, run flow. So I'm manually running the flow. Let's click on done. Seems like everything is done. So if I go to the weekly purchase and I refresh this, everything should show submitted, which is good, but I only should have these two items in my mailbox. So let me go back to the mailbox. And this is the list that I got in the mailbox that has suspender elastic and knitted elastic, only these two items, and we are all done. Just document the solution, package it, train the users, and you are done with this assignment. If you made it this far up to this point, I really don't know what to tell you. Congratulations. You finished a long course and there was a lot to cover. I'm so happy to have you with me in this course, and to show you my happiness, I'm not going to let you go like this. Just share the certificate of completion of this course on LinkedIn and tag me in this post. Just make sure you tag me so I will be notified. As soon as I get that, I will send you a free voucher for the next course. Master Microsoft Power Automate expressions in 2 hours. So see you there, and I wish you best of luck.